Hello guys, how are you all? So welcome to my channel Cracking IELTS 9.0. So today I am back with a new passage. As you can see, the passage says the return of the elm. So this is Cambridge 20 test 1 passage 2. So today I'll be solving this passage. So please pay attention closely. So on the left hand side, you have the passage, and on the right hand side, we have the questions. Okay. So as we can see, the first set of questions is match the information. Okay. So here we are matching the information. Uh, they have given some statements here, and we have to see in which paragraph are these statements given. Okay. And then we have match the people, and then we have a fill in the blanks. Okay, so let's not waste any time, and let's start solving the passage. So before that, there is a request for all of you that please watch the whole video, because I'll be giving away a lot of tips and tricks throughout the video. So if you can follow closely, it will be really helpful for you guys. Okay, so the first set of question here, we have a hint. You see this? You may use any letter more than once. Okay. This is a hint, guys. Okay. If they have given this statement, then obviously 100% some answer is going to repeat itself. Okay. Out of these all five, we will get at least two similar answers. Okay. So which section contains the following information? Okay. So we have to read the statements and then see where is that statement. But I'll tell you the first strategy for this type of questions. Okay. So basically, this is a matching question, right? So if I do in this way, I'll read the 14th statement and I'll search for that statement in all the paragraphs here. Will that be effective? Is that a effective strategy? How much time will we waste reading one statement and looking further in the whole paragraph? It will waste a lot of time. Okay, it will waste a lot of time. So we don't want to do that. We want to save some time, right? So my strategy for this type of questions is I'll read the paragraph first, okay, and then I'll come to the questions and see whether anything is matching here or not. Okay, it means I'll read the paragraph A first, and then I'll come to the questions 14 to 18, and then I'll start answering those questions. Okay, so please follow the video carefully. Okay, right. So here we have, um, let us start reading paragraph A. Okay, so around 25 million elms, accounting for 90% of all the elm trees in the UK, died during 1960s and 70s of the Dutch elm disease. Okay. In the aftermath, the elm, once so dominant in the British landscape, was largely forgotten. Right. However, there's now hope the elm may be reintroduced to the countryside of central and southern England. Any reintroduction will start from a very low base. The impact of the disease is difficult to picture if you hadn't seen what was there before, says Matt Elliott of the Woodland Trust. Okay, you look at old photographs from the 1960s, and it's only then you realize the impact. There were significant large trees, then they were gone. Okay. So one more hint, guys, whenever you come across the names, try to remember the names, because later we have matched the people, right? So whatever Matt Elliott said, we have to just remember that, okay? Because when we go to the next section, it will be easy for us to answer that, okay? Right. So whatever is given in A, we understood, right? We understood whatever he said. Now let us match it with the questions 14 to 18, okay? Now, a reference to the research problems that arise from there being only a few large elms. Did we read about any problems, guys? Any research problems that may come because of less elms here? No, right? Nothing was said, right? Next, details of difference of opinion about the value of reintroducing elms to Britain. So, did we read anything about difference of opinions? Means when two people are talking, they talk in a different opinions. They have their own views, right? So, is there any difference of opinion in this paragraph? No. Then, a reference to how a Dutch elm disease was brought into Britain. Okay. Here he spoke about the disease. Okay. They died during 1916s and 17 of the Dutch elm disease. But what is here? How the disease was brought into Britain. Did we read anything about that? No, right? How it was brought, we don't know. Next, a description of the conditions that have enabled a location in Britain to escape the Dutch elm disease. Okay, is there any description of conditions here? Nothing like that, right? He did not talk about any specific location here. Then, a reference to the stage at which young elms become vulnerable to Dutch elm disease. Did he talk about any young trees that are vulnerable to the disease? No, right? So A is not matching with anything. Okay. So let us not waste any time. Let us move to the next paragraph, that is B. Okay. Now, the disease is caused by a fungus that blocks the elm's vascular system, water, nutrient, and food transport system, causing branches to wilt and die. Okay. A first epidemic which occurred in the 1920s, gradually died down. But in the 70s, a second epidemic was triggered by shipments of elm from Canada. Okay. The wood came in the form of logs destined for boat building, and its intact bark was perfect for the elm bark beetles that spread the deadly fungus. Okay, this time the beetles carried a much more virulent strain that destroyed the vast majority of British elms. Okay. Now here he spoke about how the disease was brought into Britain, right? We read something in the question. Reference to how, you see this. Reference to how Dutch elm disease was brought into Britain. How it came into Britain? See. First epidemic was in 1920s. In 70s, second epidemic was triggered by the shipments from Canada. So yeah, from Canada, some shipments of elm they came. The wood came in the form of logs destined for boat building, and its bark was perfect for the beetles that spread the deadly fungus. Yes. So the fungus was spread by beetles. Okay, beetles they are like small insects, you can say, that spread the disease. Okay. Yes, it was brought into Canada through shipments from Canada, right? So it came into Britain because of the shipments from Canada. That's what I meant. So I think B is exactly matching with 16th here, right? Yes. So my answer would be B for this one. So I'll just write B here. Okay. Yes, that is good. Now, yeah, I think we got one answer here, right? But here he says you may use any letter more than once. So let us see B is either matching with any of the other. Reference to the research problems. Did he talk about any research problems in B? No. Details of difference of opinions. Did we read any difference of opinion here? No. Then, description of conditions that have enabled location to escape the disease? Not at all. Then, reference to the stage at which young elms are vulnerable? No, we don't talk about any young trees getting vulnerable to the disease here. Yeah, so I think yes, only 16 is matching with B here. Let us move to the next one. Okay. Now see, today elms still exist in the southern English countryside, but mostly only in low hedgerows between fields. We have millions of small elms in hedgerows, but they get targeted by the beetle as soon as they reach a certain size, says Karen Russell, co-author of the report where we are with elm. Okay, so this is the report, name of the report, where we are with elm. Once the trunk of the elm reaches 10 to 15 centimeters or so in diameter, it becomes a perfect size for beetles to lay eggs and for the fungus to take hold. Yet mature specimens have been identified in countries such as Cambridgeshire that are hundreds of years old and have mysteriously escaped the epidemic. Okay, so here we got something about escaping the epidemic, and also here we read about the young elms which are vulnerable to the disease. Okay, let us read further. Let us read the whole paragraph. The key Russell says is to identify and study those trees that have survived and work out why they stood tall when millions of others succumbed. Okay, nevertheless, opportunities are limited as the number of these mature survivors is relatively small. What are the reasons for their survival? Says Russell. Avoidance, tolerance, resistance. We don't know where the balance lies between the three. I don't see how it can be entirely down to luck. Okay, so we read about many things here, right? I think he spoke about the young ones, right? So look at the 18th one, guys. A reference to the stage at which young elms become vulnerable to the disease. Yes, exactly. He spoke about that here. See, we have millions of small elms. Small means young elms, but they are targeted by beetle as soon as they reach a certain size. Now, once the trunk of the elm reaches 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter, it becomes perfect size for the beetles to lay eggs and for the fungus to take hold. So this is how they become vulnerable to the disease. Okay. Yet mature specimens have been identified. So I think 18th one is exactly matching with C, right? So my answer for 18 would be C here. Okay. And he also spoke about escaping, right? In countries such as Cambridgeshire, they have mysteriously escaped the epidemic. Escape. We have read something about escaping, right? A description of conditions that have enabled a location in Britain to escape the Dutch elm disease. Now, see, we read about a location, Cambridgeshire. Okay, it has escaped the disease. But description of the conditions. Is there any description of condition here? No, he just gave in a single sentence. He just gave one sentence that in this region they have mysteriously escaped the epidemic, but he did not describe the conditions in that location, right? So yeah, I think 17th is not okay. Then also anything else is matching. The reference to the research problems that arise from there being only a few surviving large elms. Okay, I think we are close enough. Look at the second paragraph. Uh, See, Russell says is to identify and study those trees that have survived and work out why they stood tall when millions of others succumbed. Okay, succumbed. Now, nevertheless, look at this sentence. Nevertheless, opportunities are limited as the number of these mature survivors is relatively small. Yes, only a few surviving large elms. Yes. So he says opportunities are limited. This is the problem. Reference to the research problems that arise from there being only a few. It means because of since we have only few large elms, there should be a problem. What is the problem he's talking about? Nevertheless, opportunities are limited. Yes, that's what he says. C is also matching with 14. Okay, C has repeated itself. C. So yeah, I think C is my answer here. Okay. So we got two C's here. So this statement is justified now. Okay. Now let us move to the next paragraph. That is D. Okay. Now, for centuries, elm ran a close second to oak as the hardwood tree of choice in Britain and was in many instances the most prominent tree in the landscape. Not only was elm common in European forests, it became a key component of birch, ash, and hazel woodlands. The use of elm is thought to go back to the Bronze Age when it was widely used for tools. Elm was also preferred material for shields and early swords. Okay. In the 18th century, it was planted more widely and its wood was used for items such as storage crates and flooring. It was also suitable for items that experience high level of impact and was used to build the keel of the 19th century sailing ship Cutty's Sark as well as mining equipment. Okay. So whatever we read here, I think we read about the uses of the oak tree and the elm tree, right? How did they use the wood to build these swords, okay, for shields? Let us see the question now. Details of difference of opinion about the value of reintroducing elms to Britain. So did we read anything like difference of opinions here? No, right? So yeah, 15th is not matching. Then 17th, a description of conditions that have enabled a location to escape the disease. No, but he did not talk about escaping the disease here in D, right? Okay, let's move to the next one. That is E here. Okay. Now, given how ingrained elm is in the British culture, it's unsurprising that tree has many advocates. Amongst them is Peter Bond of the National Elm Collection in Britain. I saw Dutch elm disease unfold as a small boy, he says. The elm seemed to be the part of rural England, but I remember watching trees just lose their leaves and they really stayed with me. Okay. Today, the city of Brighton's elms total about 17,000. Local factors appear to have contributed to their survival. The strong winds from the sea make it difficult for the determined bark beetle to attack its coastal city's elm population. However, the situation is precarious. The beetles can just march in if we are not careful, as a threat is right at our doorstep, says Bone. Okay, okay. Now here he spoke about the location, that is Brighton, right? And also he described the conditions here. What is it? A description of the conditions. So look at the 17th one, guys. A description of the conditions that have enabled a location in Britain to escape the Dutch elm disease. Yes, here he has described a lot of things. What is that? Tell me. Look at this sentence. Local factors. Yes, this is the conditions. Local factors appear to have contributed to their survival. Strong winds from the sea make it difficult for the beetle to attack the coastal city's elm population. Now, this is the condition. Because of this, it has escaped the epidemic. However, the situation is precarious, so beetles can just march in if we are not careful, as a threat is right at our doorstep. Now, in this paragraph, he has described the conditions that have enabled Britain to escape the disease, right? Okay, right, good. So, yeah, what is the answer for 17 should be E, right? Okay, good. Now, we are left with only one 15th question, right? Let us read further. Let us see, let us see. So, difference of opinions we have not read in paragraph E, right? So, there is no difference of opinion. That's why let's go to F now. Any prospect of the elm returning relies heavily on trees being either resistant to or tolerant of the disease. This means a widespread reintroduction would involve existing or new hybrid strains delivered from resistant, generally non-native elm species. Okay. A new generation of seedlings have been bred and tested to see if they can withstand the fungus by cutting a small slit on the bark and injecting a tiny amount of pathogen. It means now they are testing this one, testing the trees with the disease. The effects are very quick, says Russell. You return in 4 to 6 weeks, and the trees that are resistant show no symptoms, whereas those are susceptible show leaf loss and may have even died completely. Okay, now he spoke about the effects of, he spoke about the small research that he carried out here, right? So he took a small tree's bark and he has injected the fungus within that, and he's talking about the result that the effects are very quick, and within 4 to 6 weeks, whatever the tree that is susceptible, it has leaf loss and it may have died completely. That's what he says in this paragraph. Now, details of difference of opinion. Now, did we read anything like difference of opinion here? No, right? Okay, let us go to the next paragraph, G. I think that is the only one left. Now, all of this raises questions of social acceptance. Nose acknowledges Russell. If we are putting elm back into the landscape, a small element of it is not native. Are we bothered about that? For her, the environmental case for reducing elm is strong. They will host wildlife, which is a good thing. Others are more wary. On the face of it, it seems like a good idea, says Eloyd. The problem he suggests is that you are replacing a native species with the horticultural analog. It means a cultivated plant species that is genetically similar to the existing species. That's the meaning of this. Now, you are effectively cloning, okay, means you are creating a duplicate one of the tree genetically. So, there's also the risk of introducing new diseases, he says. Rather than plant new elms, the Woodland Trust emphasizes providing space to those elms that have survived independently. Sometimes the best thing you can do is give nature time to recover. Over time, you might get resistance, says Eliot. Okay. Now here we heard two voices, right? One is Russell, okay, and one is Eliot. So Russell says that if we are putting them back into the landscape, small element of it is not native. Are we bothered about that? So he also says, now Russell says, it seems like a good idea, but when we replace it with a native species, there is a risk of new diseases as well. That's what Eliot says. So there is a difference of opinion. You see that? Russell and Eliot, there is difference of opinion between them. So details of difference of opinion about the value of reducing elms to Britain. Yes. Yes, sir, exactly. So I think G is exactly matching with this one. So my answer would be G. Okay. So yeah, I think we are done with the first set of questions. Let us move to the next set. Okay. Now here we have people. We have Elliot, Russell, and Peter Byrne. Now we have these many questions here. We just have to match it, and you may use any letter more than once. Okay, so these three have come in the last three paragraphs, if you remember, mostly. Okay, but let us see. Now, 19th one. If a tree gets infected with Dutch elm disease, the damage rapidly becomes visible. Okay, rapidly. Where did we read this, guys? We have read it just now. I mean, in the previous paragraph. You see the paragraph F. Okay. Now, I remember whatever I read, guys. Okay. I don't forget things. I remember in which paragraph did I read which information. So that's why I go to the paragraph directly. See here. This sentence. I'll let me just change the color of my pen. Okay. Right. Now, see here. The effects are very quick. What do you mean by very quick? Rapidly, right? Who said Russell? He said in connection with the experiment. Okay. Now you return in 4 to 6 weeks, and the trees that are resistant, they show no symptoms, whereas those are susceptible, they have leaf loss and they may have died completely. That's what Russell said. It means if a tree is infected with the disease, the damage rapidly becomes visible. Yes. See here, a new generation of seedlings have been bred and tested to see if they can withstand the fungus by cutting a small slit on the bark and injecting a tiny amount of pathogen. So this is experiment that he has done, and he says that the effects are very quick, means the damage becomes rapidly visible. Yes. Who said it? Russell. So what is our answer, guys? Where is Russell? B. Right? So our answer should be B here. Okay, this one was pretty easy, direct answer. Now, then, next question. It may be better to wait and see if the mature elms that have survived continue to flourish. Okay, I think this also we have read very recently. Where did we read? Can you guess, guys? Any guesses? Where did we, which paragraph did we read this? Maybe better to wait and see. I think in the last paragraph, last sentence, right? You see this. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to give nature time to recover. Give it time. Over time, you might get resistance. That's what Eliot says. Yes, sir. Give it some time means It may be better to wait and see if the elms that have survived continue to flourish. Over time, you might get resistance. Yes, sir. Who said it? Says Eliot. So where is this guy Eliot? A. So what is the answer? 20 should be A, right? Yes, so far so good, guys. Yes, it is going good. Now let us see the next one. Now, there must be an explanation for the survival of some mature elms. So yeah, where did we read this one? Any guesses, guys? I think we read it in the early paragraph. There must be an explanation. Yes, it cannot be down to luck, someone said. Okay. Now look at the paragraph C and look at the ending. Okay. Now, we'll read it from here, okay? Nevertheless, opportunities are limited as the number of survivors is relatively small, okay? What are the reasons for this survival? Asks Russell. Avoidance, tolerance, resistance. We don't know where the balance lies between the three. I don't see how it can entirely come down to luck. See, he doesn't believe in luck. He says, how can it entirely come down to luck? There should be some explanation. That's what it means. So there must be an explanation for survival of the some mature elms. Yeah, there should be some explanation. It cannot come down to luck. You see this one, this sentence and this sentence, they both are the same. Okay, they have just paraphrased it. You have to understand. Now this one is told by whom? Russell, right? Russell, where is this guy? Russell B, right? Now, yes. B is our answer. Okay, done. That is good. Next one. We need to be aware that insects carrying Dutch elm disease are not very far away. Yes, we have read it in the last but to second paragraph, I guess. They are not very far away. Insects carrying, who said? Look at the last sentence of E paragraph. The beetles can just march in if we are not careful, as the threat is right on our doorstep. Yes. So threat is right at the doorstep. They are not far away. They are not very far. They can march in any time if we are careful, if we are not careful. Okay. Now, who said this? Byrne, Peter Byrne. Yes, C. So our answer should be 22 should be C. So this is very easy paragraph. You just have to remember whatever you are reading. If you remember, then answering these type of questions will be very, very easy, guys. Okay. Now that was C. Now let us move to the next question 23. You understand, okay, you understand the effect Dutch elm disease has had when you see evidence of how prominent the tree once was. Okay, he was talking about the tree was a large population before, but you have no idea. When you see the evidence only, you will understand, he says. Where did we read? I think we read very early in the passage, right? So what is where did we read it, guys? Any guesses here? Anything? No? Okay, let me tell you. Look at paragraph A, last sentence. Okay. You look at the old photographs from the 1960s, and it's only then you will realize the impact they had. There were significant large trees, and then they are gone. That's what he says. You understand the effect. Effect means, see, impact. They both are synonyms, guys. Impact and effect. Okay. Now, Dutch elm has had when you see evidence of how prominent the tree once was. So only when you look at the old photograph, then only you will understand what is the impact of this disease on the trees. That's what he says. Who said this? Matt Elliott. So where is Matt A? So what should be the answer, guys? My answer is A. Yes. So yes. So this is our section, guys, matching the people, and then we have one more section that is fill in the blanks. But here we have to be careful because this is only one word answers. Okay, we cannot write two words or three words here. Now, for hundreds of years, the only tree that was more popular in Britain than elm was dash. Okay, we also read about that tree in the, I think the D paragraph, right? D. Now, all of you go to the D paragraph. Now, for centuries, elm ran second, close second to the oak as the hardwood tree of choice in Britain. Yes. So, oak was the first choice, elm was the second choice. Yes. So, the only tree that was more popular in Britain than elm was oak. So, I'll just write it here, oak. Yeah, that is a direct answer. Very easy. Then, starting in the Bronze Age. So, I think he spoke about the Bronze Age in this paragraph only. Look at this. This is Bronze Age. And then in the 18th century. So, this is the 18th century here. Okay, let us read this sentence. In the 18th century, it was grown to provide wood for boxes and dash. So, boxes and something is the answer. What is that? So in the 18th century, it was planted more widely and its wood was used for items such as storage crates and flooring. Storage crates means boxes, right? And flooring. So yes, flooring is our answer. Okay. This is also very easy, guys. Very easy paragraph, all direct answers. Okay. Then, due to its strength, elm was often used for mining equipment, and the Cutty Stark's dash was also constructed from elm. Okay, what is that is constructed? Let us read this sentence now. It was also suitable for items that experienced high levels of impact and was used to build the keel of the 19th century sailing ship Cutty Sark as well as mining equipment. Wow. Yes. So what is the answer, guys? Any guesses? Elm was often used for mining equipment, and the Katisar's dash was also constructed from elm. So, high levels of impact and was used to build the keel. Keel is the answer. Okay. Used to build the keel of the sailing ship Katisar. Okay. Yes. Let me write the keel here. Yes. Okay. So I think that is the end of today's video, guys. This passage was okay. It was not tough. It was like, I would say this is like easy passage because most of the answers we got, almost it is a direct answer. No huge twist and no great paraphrasing or synonyms here, right? So if you like my explanation, please like, share, and subscribe my videos. I'll be back with another passage in very soon. So please keep supporting me, keep sharing my videos. If you want me to solve any particular passage, then mention the passage in the comment section. Okay, I'll try to solve it for you. Currently, I'm trying to solve the Cambridge 20 academic. So let us see how it goes. I'll be posting videos soon and I need your support for more and more subscribers to do more and more videos here. So yeah, thank you so much. Let us meet again in some another video. Till then, goodbye. Have a good day.